now that the better weather's here, we've started making a lot of changes. So I will take you over here. Here are my bees, and the bees have been here for about a week. And the queen came, I released the queen on Saturday, and the hive is doing very, very well. I will probably open it up and check everybody in another week or so. It's supposed to be really crappy weather this weekend, so I won't do it until probably next weekend. Then we have this run, and this run has Kramer. So if you do watch our live with Kramer, you can see him back there. There he is with his girls. So this run is going to be divided. You can see I've started to divide it. To the right, there's the roost bars, and then I have some wire put up, and I'm going to split this in half, and I have the gates open right now. So that will be split in two, and I have two coops that are attached. I have this coop here, and then I have that coop there. So once it's divided, then Kramer and his girls will go in the back, and I'm probably going to move some of the hens out with, they're not going to stay with Kramer, but I haven't decided which and what yet. And then I will have in the very, very back of this run, I am going to build another door so that I'll have access to that side with a door on the back. And then on this side, my duckles will go over here, and I have the door right here so I can access the duckles. So there will be two doors, two coops, and I will have two separate pens in this run. Then, so just a quick, in the middle here, there is wire. You can't really see it, but every once in a while, if I need to just have somebody separate, I do use that, but I try not to unless I absolutely have to. But it's just an extra place where I can keep them contained and keep them safe. Then I have this, and this is Tio right here, my Pita Pentas. So I'm making some drastic changes with these guys. So Tio and his four girls are going to move to Okara's pen. And if you see in the very back, I have another separate section too. There's no door on it right now. I took that off when I was using it for integrating, and I did take it off. So I, for the most part, I'm not going to need to use that pen, but that pen's going to be there if I have grow outs or do need to integrate anybody. They do love to go underneath there. But Tio is going to move to the smaller pen where Okara is right now, and I'm going to move him with his girls and probably like one or two other hens. And as you can see, the same thing here. I have two coops. So, but what I'm going to do, see, this is a full-size coop, and it's in that, for that little area. So I am going to move this coop. So I'm waiting. My son's supposed to help me. We'll see. I got to find somebody to help me move it because I'm not strong enough. But we're going to take this big coop, and it's going to get moved over here. So this is where Okara is. And Okara right now is with two hens. So say hi, Okara. I love this boy. Hi, baby. Oh, wait, you dancing for me? Yeah, you dancing? So Okara is with Lake Girl and Batman, but they have a very small coop. And so I'm going to move this small coop over where that big coop is. And I'm going to move that big coop over where the small coop is. And then Okara is going to go over there where Tio is. And Tio and his girls are going to come over here where Okara is. So Okara, again, is only with 2 hens right now, but I'm going to give him more hens, and I will even it out just a little bit. So that's my next biggest project. And again, when I can find someone to help me, because I cannot lift that coop up by myself. I can't move it. Then I have this. This, embarrassing to say, but this was my very first coop, minus the wood right there. But this was my very first coop. And this works great for my grow outs. And I have the option if I want. See, I've added, let me see if I can get over here. So I've added the little areas so that the babies have more room. But when I'm growing out babies, they will stay in here usually for about 2 weeks until they're ready to move on to their new homes. So this actually works really, really well. And they can come out in these pens, and if I need to block, there's a doorway where I can block it. So you can see, like, I don't know if you could see, that's the doorway to that other section, and I can block that off if I just want to keep them here. And then here's the door, and I can open that, and they can come in and out. And then they do have the actual coop part in here, but they can also come for the outside section, and they can go in and out. To keep this protected, since this is where they're sleeping and it is open, I have these wires put into the ground. I also have the hardware cloth buried underneath, so there's no possible way to get in there. And I have stones that are buried underneath, sitting on top of the hardware cloth, although everything's kind of sunk in the ground so you can't see it. Then on top of that, you can see I use rubber roof a lot, and right now it's all folded up, but I pull the rubber roof down and I use that to to cover the openings, to keep that protected. So but you can see that wire fencing. I have it all the way around, and again on top of the hardware cloth. And then this section, and there is a tray that you can pull out. Now, I don't pull it out. I actually covered the whole bottom with hardware cloth. So when I clean it, I clean the bottom, and then I can hose it out. And there's Layla. And this is my little mouser, so she keeps the mice and things at bay. But this, again, is my grow out. And I could make it a little bit neater, which I probably should, but I had some old panels, so I just use the panel for the top. And you can see, well, I got to do it the other way. But if I turn this over, let's turn it this way because that's how it's supposed to be. But there, okay. So then I can just open this up and do that. And so before the next set of babies come in, I'll move everything so I can rake it out. I just had babies in here that left a few days ago, so that needs to be cleaned, and I will do that next. But this is kind of a quick little tour of the way things are set up. Here's the back part of my run, so you can see there's that back coop here. Here's that small section, and so you can see the wire, and no door, but a door can go on here. And there's Tio. But this will be perfect if I need to have any grow outs or anything that has to go separate. Hi Opal. And that's the main part of the run, and then we have the divided space in the center. Then here is Tio's run. Now what I did, I have it somewhat secured, but I cut a little opening, so it was where I was going to start to make the door, and I was just trying to play around with it a little bit. But I will have a door that'll go on back here, so if I want to get to these guys, I don't have to go in the front and then through that door into this. But I can always do that if I need to. And then back around this side. So, and I sometimes if there's really heavy rains, and we've had a ton of rain, the coop leaks a little bit. It looks like water comes in through the opening. So I just made these rubber mats that hang off the back so that the water doesn't come in, because nothing's worse than having a clean coop and then it's leaking water. So that was my solution. So see, I'm back by the bees again. And I've started planting. I have the impatiens, which do really well over here, and the chickens love the flowers. And I have some mint growing right there. And then over here, I have more mint, and I have chamomile and thyme. And these have all just been planted in the last like 2 weeks. So they will start to take off as the weather gets a little bit better. And parsley and a ton more mint. And I have calendula, more plants and sage. And then I have my little bench and my stump. I don't know how I put stuff on it, and then here's my other raised garden that I'm growing the nettles and tons of mint. And I do have some melons back there. I don't know if the melons, I've never had luck growing melons, so we will see. And then I have some wild strawberries growing over here. I had tried to grow some stuff in between the slats and the pallet, and it did not work very well, and I never moved the pallet, and the pallet's kind of stuck there now. So I don't know, I might pull it up. I haven't decided yet, or I might try to plant something there again. We will see. But you can see that this is the basic setup that I have. I have these stones. These I was using for various things, and then I pulled them out and I started like a border around, and I'll probably make more of a border. I don't know. Haven't gotten that far yet. I kind of spend a little bit of time each day. Then in this section, so I have my shed where I store everything. Here's my shed. So a little bit messy, but that's where most of my chicken supplies and stuff are. Then that tree that fell in my coop, if you saw that video from, I don't know, a week or two ago, my husband cut it down. I'm using that to make a path. So I don't know what that is, but anyway, so I'm making a path here. And then we have a ton of hostas in the front, and they had a lot of babies. And so I dug them up, and as you can see the plants, I'm putting a border here. Just haven't planted them yet, but I will be. And more there, and I have more there. My bleeding heart, and there, and then here's more of my garden, and I have like herbs and stuff growing. But I'm gonna make probably some kind of like a shade garden, a partial shade garden in this area, and we'll see what I can do with that. But started raking more leaves. You could see massive amounts of leaves. So I try to do a little bit every day or when I can. Then we have a bird bath. I have to add some more rocks. That mostly is for the bees, to make sure that the bees can get plenty of water if they need to. More plants. And here's my lavender. I need to clean it up a little bit, but I love the lavender. And growing lettuce here. These I just planted directly in that tub. And then I have some carrots and the nasturtium that's growing right there. Those fell in by accident. I have no idea how they got there, but they're growing, so I'll keep them. This is all lettuce. These are mostly for the chickens. They love it, and so I just cut the tops off and throw it in. Plus, I'll be honest with you, the lettuce is so tender and tastes really good, so I use it for myself too, but it is primarily for the chickens. My sage is doing really well. I trimmed it back some, and I propagated some in the kitchen, and this is like this plant's been around for 3 years and it's doing very, very well. Then I have a lot of plants. Here's more that I'm growing. I still haven't planted everything. I have a lot of seeds and stuff that are growing up there that I'm still working on, but you can only do so much in a day, I guess. Then here are my babies, and they are enjoying the beautiful weather. The duckles. So these are going to go in the front part of the run where Tio is, that first section, once they are big enough. Right now they're only they're 4 weeks old, so you know, they're not ready, and they're straight run, so I'm starting to be able to distinguish which are roosters, but not 100% yet. So I have 11 of these, and depending, I'm not sure how many I'm going to keep, but next year I will be breeding these and offering these chicks for sale. Then I have these that are also probably going to be keeping. So the white one back there, whoop, that is Patricia Pearl. My daughter named her. And she's a leghorn. She's going to go with Tio. And then the other 3 are Wyandottes, and they are going to probably go with Okara with the death layer, although I have not 100% decided. And these are the little playpen that I use. I use these for the chicks for their outdoor time, which they absolutely love. And these playpens have held up really well. I've been using these, I think, 3 years. This is going on the 4th year. And I move them around all the time, and I use them inside the run when I want to integrate older chicks, or if I need to separate somebody. They work really well. And then just in the backyard when I want to let my babies have some outdoor time, they absolutely love this. And last but not least, my other garden. And I'm starting to plant some herbs there, and my tomatoes are just crazy. I have no idea how I did it or what I did, but I threw some extra dirt that must have had tomato seeds, and I threw it, and look at those and those. So I have tons. I have to figure out what to do with them all. I have so many. And I have some other stuff. These are just my excess. All this will get cleaned up when I'm done with my garden, but still working. My holy basil, and I have rosemary, yarrow, chamomile. I'm growing some cosmo, some wildflowers there for the front yard, and then sunflowers. I can get some massive sunflowers. We get a lot of sun here. I threw some down, and look, they're all growing. I have a ton right there. And then, believe it or not, these are the tomatoes that, okay, Layla, she's got to be in my garden, but these are the little tomato plants, and they are everywhere. Most of these are cherry tomatoes, and last year, I do believe I have a video, but I'm not sure. I wasn't expecting them, and they just became this massive mess of tomatoes. And so sometimes the seeds would fall on the ground, and so that's what all these are. I have not planted any seeds, and this is the 3rd year in a row that they have grown like that. So I'm just going to let it happen. And yeah, they might be kind of messy, but it's fun to come pick them, and probably more cherry tomatoes than I could possibly want. And then down here we have kind of another mess, but I'm good at making messes. I have strawberries, and then here's a blackberry bush. So this blackberry bush, when it started, let me see if I can, so you can see the end. It's now kind of a V, but okay, so here was the end right there. But what happened, it grew straight up here. Here's the other part, and here was the end. So I cut it, and I tried to pull that out, but it was really in the ground. So now I have 2 plants. So I have this one, which is growing in a different bed and shouldn't be there, but what the heck, I guess if I'm going to get blackberries, might as well keep it. And then I got that one. And then I grow my tomatoes in these bags, and I grow them right along the fence because it's easy to stake them up here instead of trying to do other things. This is my elderberry, and I need to cut this, but it's growing, and so this is doing really, really well. That was from the tree from last year. Here's another tomato, and you can see it looks like have some tomatoes on the ground here from my tomato plant last year. Another tomato plant, and then I have blueberries. I got to trim back here because that one is kind of getting overgrown with other stuff. And then bleeding hearts. These are wild, I guess. I don't know. They're everywhere. But I have the bleeding hearts everywhere. And let me see. I know I started corn. Never tried growing corn before, but I'm going to see how. I only have 5 little plants here. I started those by seeds, and so we'll see what happens. I don't know. Animals from the woods could come and get them, but it's kind of really overgrown back here. I, at some point, would like to get my chainsaw and cut some of this down, but I don't know. That's another project for another day. This was another old coop I had, but it got moved over here, and I use it to store pots and things for my plants for the winter until I pull them out. And I guess since we're walking around, so here is the leaf sucker thing. That's where my husband will pick all the leaves up. Here's our log splitter, and then you can see way back here. So that's where a lot of the wood and stuff is. So thank God for the fence, because there's lots and lots of coyotes. Right now the turkeys are a little crazy, and then alongside our property, as you can see, is like a dirt path, and that's just our dirt road, so we could get in the back. But that is a coyote highway. I have light sensors that go on in the cameras, and I catch them running up and down that path. Funny thing, they never stop by my chickens, and knock on wood, but in the 6 years we've been here, no coyotes have ever gotten into our yard. I do have a 100-pound Louisiana Catahoula leopard dog that I think his scent is pretty strong and helps to deter them, but he would not put up with any coyote or wild animal in the yard. Even the turkeys, if they try to come in, or they do come in, he goes crazy and chases them out right away. But anyway, that is a quick tour and all the things I'm working on right now. And I will be excited in a couple months when the plants start growing and taking, and it looks a little bit neater after the fall cleanup, to share what things look like now. And of course, you will be seeing the duckles, because they will be moving into their spot in the run when they are big enough. But that's it for today. Time to get some more work done, and look for Kramer later on. He will be doing his live as he always does. But I guess one last thing. See, these are some of the other plants I'm working on. I started in little bags for growing. It was my little mini greenhouses, and I have to say that things have really grown very well for the most part. Now at this point, I've cut the tops off, and everything's outside. I used to have so many plants in the house, it was like a mess, and now with doing these mini greenhouses, everything's outside, and I haven't had to worry at all. Let's see how well my tomatoes are doing, and it's worked really well. But that's it for now, and we'll we'll be back to share more with you as we move into summer and get this winter mess cleaned up.